You're listening to a Meatsmith Harvest. This is the podcast that encourages and equips you to grow your home around the harvest. Welcome, Meatsmiths. This dialogue picks up where we left off in our last episode's conversation. You can find part 1 on our website, YouTube, or iTunes. If the content resonates with you, please consider supporting our team by going to patreon.com/Meatsmith and donating a small monthly pledge. This goes directly toward more free media headed your way. Thanks for staying tuned for part 2. Yeah, I mean, that is the challenge for an artist in any industry, I would say, whether it's music or food or construction, is you've got, and I've been learning the Aristotelian notion of the golden mean. So I used to think, or maybe we're all taught, that there's vice and there's virtue, and there's a spectrum, and the more you get closer to virtue, the further away you are from this vice.
Yeah,
but actually, right, that they are completely opposites. But actually, you've got a third element.
Yeah,
virtue is in the center, and you've got two vices on either side.
Yeah,
of that virtue. Here's my spectrum.
Yeah.
And so, like, for instance, the virtue of courage, let's say.
Yeah.
It's not just that courage is the opposite of cowardice.
Yeah.
It's also the opposite of rashness. There's rashness and there's cowardice. And right in the middle,
the golden mean,
is courage.
Courage, yeah.
And I never thought about that before. But I think as an artist too, like in the case of butchery, you've got economics.
Yeah.
And you've also got aesthetics.
Yeah.
And do you have to compromise one for the other? Or maybe right in the middle, the creative tension between the two,
yeah,
is that sweet spot.
And it's aesthetics broadly considered. It's not just external prettiness. It's like proper. You know, fitting and altogether fitting and proper.
Yeah.
We don't really say that anymore, but
yeah,
there is a way that is more docile to the shape of a carcass, I would argue, that it suggests the way it should be broken down and cut and cooked. And one of the guiding principles in that is no little strips or flaps or shavings of meat that are just tossed, you know, and not used.
Yeah.
So it's holistic, uses it all. And yeah, that is in tension with the economy. And it's those limits. And that's the crazy thing about limits, is when they're hemming you in on both sides. They're hemming in your excess and your deficiency.
Yeah. Right.
Right? It's in that struggle of those bookends that you really express something awesome.
Yeah, because in our zeal, in our amateurish passion for something, we go, yeah, I got to dismiss all that stuff that I was raised on. And then all of a sudden you've just made the opposite error of too much zeal for whatever it is you're trying to go for.
Yeah.
And that is short-lived. And that's where I think you can distinguish yourself from other craftsmen, is when you don't just, you know, pursue something out of pure passion, but you've got the long end in mind. And I mean, here's just a little example of how someone who knows can see the difference, and which is your apron at the end of that competition was spotless.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. The others, now I have good things to say about them, but the others were not spotless. We'll say that. And it's just because it's like the painter, right? And everyone knows that an expert, we just painted my parents' house. Okay. It was a disaster.
But it happened.
It happened. Yeah. No, I'm so glad it did. And it looks way better. Just don't look too closely. We were a mess. Like we were an absolute mess. Cause it was like me and 3 uncles and like my 8-year-old kid. It was just, you know, but it totally got done. But we were all saying at the end of the day, like, have you ever seen a professional painter? They walk away and nary a drop on their hands. Like, it's just, they just got it so dialed.
Yeah.
You know, because they have the whole framework in mind. And I see it the same way. You know, are you going to make a mess out of yourself? And, I mean, the other butchers were working hard.
Yeah.
And they produce great things, but there's also that holistic, like, you know, I don't know. Just
Yeah.
your apron was spotless. I thought there's something to be said for
Yeah,
that.
thanks. Took care of my vestments.
Yes.
I do have a disgust, I guess, actually, for myself. Like, it's a reaction. I hate smeared animal fat on my belly.
Yeah.
I don't. No likey.
I don't think it's inconsequential to the end product, though. You know?
Yeah.
It's the whole well-rounded thing. It's not like that just happens in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of the way that you cut, the way you take care of yourself ends up producing a superior product because your attitude's different. And I don't know. It's the same way with, like, parenting or anything. Like, are you doing this in sweatpants or you're really going to go for it? You know? Like, anyway.
Thanks.
Yeah. So that was. Are there any questions? You want to read some of these replies that people are?
Yeah. Ooh, a specific stuffer. Yes. Oh yeah, Desmond is a good gleaner. He knows all about that. Butterflying a chop implies or suggests stuffing. Yeah, that makes sense. Like you said, letting the butcher dictate or at least suggest how to cook the product. Yeah. I guess I also have another prejudice, Donna, and that is I don't like stuffing chops. That's my other prejudice.
Oh, like pork chops. Yeah, I guess I grew up with
you
that.
Stuff them. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's creative and it's neat. But I always and yeah, so it is my subjective preference for the cooking of a chop is to cut it thick enough so that it can balance on its fat cap. That's the rule for me. Because the fat cap will be the source of the oil in the pan that will fry the chop. So you start it on the fat cap.
That's right.
On the back fat. And you let it render there on low, maybe medium-low heat for kind of a long time. And you get a lot of oil in the pan. And then you just knock the chop down.
Sure.
And it fries in its own oil. And what I love about that is it's a distillation of the chop itself. It's like you're cooking the chop in the chop. And just salt and pepper.
Sweet fat.
Is all it needs. Yeah. And it's so good. And it really becomes a transparent indicator of the quality of the pork.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun. But I'll eat a stuffed chop any day. It sounds delicious.
Well, we just haven't done it too much because... Well, pork chops are kind of rare. With you only get so many chops off of a pig, and so we just go straight for the traditional preparation. And I think have we stuffed other things, pork wise?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've stuffed all the things.
Yeah,
stuff a pig head with chestnuts and roasted that.
Yeah,
that was fun.
That's normally what we stuff if we're going to.
I like to butterfly the back leg and stuff it with just severe amounts of garlic, uncanny quantities of garlic and fennel and black pepper and salt and sage, and then tie it back up and roast it. Yeah, stuffed all the things.
Tom Sandy asks, last time you recommended a specific meat grinder. While we were at it, would you be so kind as to recommend a specific stuffer?
Yes. So the one I have is right there. And that is, it's an F Dick. And it's a manual pump, cylinder compression.
On the YouTube, it looks right there.
Stuffer.
Oh,
right.
Facebook
Yeah,
video.
I was going on the Facebook video. There it is. And that one's the Cadillac. So that one was $1,100. Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Because it can hold 25 pounds. It's got 2 gears.
No, it was
more than that.
It was more than that, yeah. A couple
and
grand, I think.
It was a big purchase for us. I got it when I realized I made sausage for a living.
Yeah.
And I needed something to work every time and be a joy to use. And that thing is a joy. I love it. So that's the Cadillac of the manual stuffers.
Of the small scale even.
Yeah, it's a 25-pound canister, which is about as much as I like to mix at a time anyway of one variety of sausage. So it's perfect for my scale. It enables lots of efficiencies just by virtue of the fact that it's a 25-pound canister, more than I can enumerate. And it's a pleasure to use. So
it's got a patented pressurized doodly bob.
A pressure release.
That's what makes it magical.
Yeah, so you can lower, and most of them are outfitted with but they don't work very well. You can lower the canister if you have just a little bit of meat in the bottom, you can lower the cylinder and air will escape out the cylinder through a particular valve that will shut once the cylinder comes in contact with the sausage meat. And if you don't have that, you will build up air pressure, and the sausage will shoot out the sausage horn at Mach 10 and splatter all over. It's actually pretty fun, but a mess. Yeah. So, but that's the Cadillac, all of that. What I used before that was a 15-pound canister, which is much more affordable. Mine was made by Sausage Maker, but it was back in the day, sausagemaker.com, when they had plastic gears. Not so good. So there was play in it, and it took a little more power to pump it. And 15-pound canister was too small for my scale. And there's nothing to sap the efficiency out of your sausage stuffing session like having to refill the canister several times. So, but 15 pounds is a good size if you're not going to use it quite as much as I do. And SausageMaker.com has since then upgraded their stuffer. And this is a long time ago, so I think they're way out of the plastic geared stuff. And I think they even have 2 gears now in the 15-pound canister. And they look good to me. I haven't used one, but they look cool. I know my friend Colin, who's texting me right now, he has one. And he makes sausage every year. He raises several pigs every year, and I think he likes it. So I think that's the one I would recommend. If you want a 15-pound canister in an F-Dick, that would be awesome, because F-Dick's kind of, again, it's like the really nice, it's not the Cadillac, it's the Mercedes, because they're German-made, I think. It's the Mercedes of sausage stuffers. So it's more expensive again, but it would be awesome. Can't go wrong with an F-Dick 15-pound canister. The Sausage Maker ones tend to be more affordable.